Hello boat builders, Bob the boat builder here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to start to put together your boat. You've worked really hard to build your jig. By this point you should have also cut out your bottom panel, and you should have two side panels like I have here. Please make sure that your side panels are labeled front, top, bottom, and back. Same thing, so that we don't get confused as we start putting it all together. Alright, to put our boat together, we're going to start using our wood glue, and we're actually going to be mixing it with some sawdust, which is what's in this container here. And the glue and the sawdust mixed together makes a paste, and I call that glue paste. Alright, so that's going to be the first part of our lesson today, is mixing up some glue paste. The glue paste helps the glue to be a little bit thicker, a little bit stronger, and the thicker glue paste will help stay in place, have it stay put where we want it to, which today is going to be up at the front of our boat. So just to give you a little preview, we're going to be taking these two side panels, we're going to be taping them together. Once they're taped together, then we will glue them to our bottom panel all up here at the front or the bow of our boat. Alright, before we do that though, let me show you how to mix up some glue paste. Alright. These to the side. To mix it up, you're going to need a little balsa wood stick like this. This is just like the ones that we use for the crossballs on our jig. Just cut out a piece of one of your balsa wood sticks, and it's just going to act like a little stirring stick. It'll also help us spread the glue paste. Alright, so I got that ready. I've got my sawdust ready. And I've got my glue ready. Go ahead and carefully open up your sawdust container. Mine, you can see it kind of has this brown stuff here. That's just some old glue paste that dried. And the reason why it dried is because I actually I used the lid like a little tray. All right. Let me see if I can get it off here. There we go. Alright, so we'll start nice and fresh. Great. But yours should already be nice and clean. Alright, so I've got the lid, I've got the sawdust, and I've got my stirring stick ready. So what I want to do is I just want to scoop a little bit of the sawdust and put it right here in the middle of the lid. I'm going to do 2 scoops to start off with. Alright. Now, get my glue ready. And I want to squeeze glue on top of it. About that much. I would say don't squeeze too much at first, just start with a small amount. And then once we mix it, if the glue paste is too thick, you can always add more glue. Or if it's too thin, you can always add a little bit more sawdust. But now I'm just trying to kind of bring it all to the center, mix it together, until we get something that's about the consistency or about as thick as like ketchup or mustard, or some people say this ends up looking like hummus, if you're familiar with that. There we go, it's looking pretty good now. You definitely want to make sure it's really well mixed together. And it should look smooth. Alright, if yours looks clumpy, that means you don't have enough glue. So add some more glue. And again, just add small amounts at a time until you get it just how you want it. Let me hold this up for you so you can see a little bit better. So it's smooth, and it's thick enough that it doesn't just drip right off. Right? It's starting to, it wants to drip, but it's thick enough that it doesn't just drip right off. So that's, here, again, that's about what I'm looking for. Great. So once you got some glue paste made up, you can go ahead and set that off to the side for a second. We'll need that in just a little bit, and I want to have it ready. Set my sawdust off to the side and set my glue off to the side. Alright, the next step for putting together your boat is we're going to tape the two sides. And again, make sure you've labeled them. I know that this is the front, and I know that this is the front. So I want to match my two sides up together, like that, front, front. I then want to take a small piece of tape, about 1 inch long, maybe a little bit longer than 1 inch, about that big, maybe 2 inches. And I want to put this piece of tape with the two matched up, two sides matched up. I want to put the piece of tape across the front of our boat. And really press the tape down. Don't just kind of lay it on there. You got to really press it down and make sure it's going to stick well. If you have a little extra sticking up, a little bit of tape right there sticking up, just tuck it in. And I'm going to do that again. I'm going to put 2 pieces of tape across the front. And I'm pulling on the tape pretty hard so that it really goes on well, but also so that these 2 pieces stay nice and tight together. Alright, so I've got 2 pieces of tape across the front here. So now I should be able to open it up, and it should stay, these 2 should stay together. So let me show you again. Alright, so those 2 now hold together. It's kind of like a hinge. You'd have a hinge on a door. Alright. So with those 2 together now, I can take my bottom panel and I'm going to put, one of the side has the line on it. I'm going to put the side with the line facing down. Okay? And move this out of the way for a minute. So with the bottom panel and the line facing down, I now need another piece of tape. This time I want a bigger piece. It's about a little bit wider in my hand. And I'm turning the tape over so that the sticky side is facing up. I then want to put the bottom panel of my boat on top of the piece of tape, just like that. So again, the sticky side of the tape is facing up towards me, and it's taped onto the bottom panel right there. Great. So now I can take the sides of my boat and I can line them up with the bottom panel. And I'm putting them just outside of the bottom panel. Not on top of it, but just outside of it. This is important. It's going to take a little bit of maneuvering, right, to get that just right. Alright. So once you see that the sides of the boat sit just outside the bottom panel, not on top of it, then I can kind of put a finger on the bottom panel, hold it in place, and I can take this piece of tape and I can pull it up and stick it to the side, just like that. Do the same thing on the other side. I'll pull it in place. What we're doing is we're just attaching the side and the bottom panel together with some tape. It's temporary, right? Just for a little while, so that we can get some glue onto it. Alright, so these three pieces are now joined together. You can see that I've got a little bit of a gap or a hole right there, and that's fine. That's the other great part about the glue paste, is it's going to help fill in those little gaps and cracks and little holes that we might have. Same thing right here. I've got a little gap right up the front. That's okay. I'm going to put one more piece of tape down before we start putting the glue on. And again, kind of a longer piece. We'll put it underneath the boat. So that the sticky side is facing up towards me, right there. And holding onto the boat, and then pull hard on the tape and wrap it. And that's going to be a technique we use later on as well, where you're holding the boat and then you're pulling up on the tape towards you, pulling it nice and tight, and then wrapping it around. And I always go in and I make sure that the tape is really sticking. Great. Alright, so these are all, so this is what it should look like now. Some people say it looks like a rocket. Great. So now once you've got it all taped together, you can start using your glue paste. And we're only going to use the glue paste up here at the front. You don't need to mark it, I'm just doing it so that you can see. We're going to put it all in these cracks right here, all in these cracks right here, and especially up here at the very bow of the boat. I would say a good idea, if you do have a little hole right here, like I do, let's go ahead and put a piece of tape on it so that the glue paste doesn't leak out. So, put an extra piece of tape right across the front here. Make sure my glue paste doesn't leak out. And all this tape is going to come off later. It's just there to help hold everything together while we put the glue on and while the glue dries. Alright. So now we take that glue paste and we start pushing it. Let me get a little bit more. We start pushing it into these gaps here. It's where these three pieces meet up. And I'm just scraping it off of the lid and then I'm kind of dabbing it into the spaces where I want it. And gravity is going to push this glue paste down. So when we're all done putting the glue paste in, you might want to try to find somewhere that you can kind of tilt the boat so that the glue stays up here at the front of the boat. I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. Alright. Just about done. You know, and try to use up all the glue paste you have. And again, it should be nice and smooth like mine. And And if it's not, and it's looking kind of bumpy and lumpy, you might want to use your paintbrush or even use your finger to help smooth it out, because that's how it's going to look on your finished boat. This isn't, the glue paste is very difficult to sand smooth later, because it is so strong. And it's also in this tight little spot, so it's hard to get sandpaper in there. Alright. Just final little touches here. Great. Let me give you a close up there. So I filled in the whole bow of the boat, all this up front here, with glue paste. And that's it for today. The last thing I wanted to show you was, try to leave your boat to dry. Either set it on top of your box like that, so that the glue is gonna slide forward, right? Gravity's gonna push it that way. Or you could even just put something kind of underneath of it a little bit, like this roll of tape. The box works really well like that. All right, well, good luck putting your boat together with glue paste up at the bow. Take care.